If I lost everything today, no money, no investments, no retirement account, no financial safety net, and I had to restart from absolute zero in 2026, this is exactly what I would do. Not the fake internet guru version, not the buy my course version, the real version. Because most people are trying to invest while their financial life is collapsing underneath them. They buy stocks while drowning in credit card debt. They open a Roth IRA while living paycheck to paycheck. They invest emotionally, panic emotionally, and quit emotionally. Then they say, investing doesn't work. No, your system doesn't work. And today, I'm giving you the exact 7-step blueprint I'd use if I had to rebuild wealth from scratch in 2026. But there's one step almost nobody talks about. And skipping it is why millions stay broke for decades. Stay until the end, because step 7 is what separates investors who become wealthy from investors who panic and destroy themselves the second the market crashes. And trust me, the next crash will happen. The question is whether you'll be prepared or become another victim. Sounds scary. It's not, its reality. Let's rebuild your financial life the correct way. Step 1. Get your financial house in order. Most people are trying to build wealth on top of financial chaos. Before I invested a single dollar, I would fix my foundation first. Because investing without financial stability is like trying to build a mansion on quicksand. Eventually, everything collapses, and this is the part nobody wants to hear because it's not exciting. People want crypto moonshots, hot stock tips, fast money, overnight wealth. But wealth is usually built through boring consistency, not emotional gambling. So here's the first thing I do in 2026. Clear high-interest debt. I can't stress enough the importance of this. If you're paying 24% interest on credit cards, you are not investing. You are financially bleeding. Because if your investments make 8%, but your debt costs 24%, you're still losing. And this is where people lie to themselves. They say, but I'm investing for my future. No, you're financing your past mistakes. That's different. High-interest debt destroys freedom. It destroys cash flow. It destroys mental clarity. It keeps you trapped in survival mode. And survival mode creates desperate decisions. So if I were restarting in 2026, I'd attack high-interest debt aggressively. Not slowly, not casually, not whenever I can. Aggressively. Because every month you stay in bad debt, your future gets more expensive. Sad but facts, and in a few minutes. I'm going to explain why most people never build wealth even when they make more money. That mistake alone keeps entire families broke for generations. The next key point is build an emergency fund once high-interest debt is controlled. I'd build an emergency fund immediately, and this is the step impatient people skip. Then life punches them in the face. Car breaks down, job loss, medical bill, unexpected expense, and suddenly they're selling investments at the worst possible time. That's how panic cycles start. So where would I keep emergency savings? Simple, a high-yield savings account or a money market account, not under a mattress. Not sitting in a checking account earning nothing. Your emergency fund has one job: protect your investments from your life. That's it. Not excitement, not massive growth, protection. And honestly, financial peace changes everything psychologically, because when you stop living one emergency away from disaster, you make smarter decisions, calmer decisions, long-term decisions. The next key aspect is to stabilize income and spending. This part is uncomfortable, because most people don't have an investing problem. They have a spending problem. Lifestyle inflation destroys more wealth than low income. Every raise becomes new car, new phone, more subscriptions, more eating out, more treating yourself. And suddenly someone making $120,000 feels just as broke as someone making $40,000. That's insanity. So if I were restarting, I'd track every dollar for 90 days. Every purchase, every subscription, every leak. Because you cannot fix what you refuse to measure. And here's the psychological trap. People spend emotionally. Stress spending, boredom spending, reward spending. Most spending isn't logical. It's emotional regulation disguised as consumption. That realization changes everything. Now let's move on to step 2, define goals and time horizons. The biggest investing mistake isn't picking bad investments. It's investing without knowing why. What's your reasoning, target, or goal? Most people are randomly throwing money into investments with zero clarity. That's dangerous, because different goals require different strategies. Money needed in 3 years should not be invested the same way as money needed in 30 years. That's how people get destroyed during downturns. So if I were starting in 2026, I'd define exactly what I'm investing for. Retiring early, traveling the world, buying a house, building generational wealth, freedom from paycheck-to-paycheck living, because purpose creates discipline and vague goals create inconsistent behavior. Sad thing is you don't even realize it until it's too late. And later in this video, I'm going to explain the one investment account almost everybody misunderstands. Most people are using it completely wrong. Look, here's time horizon explanation broke down. Here's the rule. The sooner you need the money, the less risk you should take. If you need money in 1 to 3 years, you probably shouldn't heavily expose it to stock market volatility. But if retirement is 20 or 30 years away, short-term market crashes matter way less. That mindset shift changes investing forever, because beginners think market down equals danger. Experienced investors think market down equals discounted assets. Huge difference. Cause the way of thinking means everything when investing. And this is why patience is financially rewarded. Because most humans are emotional. They panic, they chase hype, they quit early. But wealth often goes to the people who remain calm longer than everyone else. So step 3, choosing investment accounts. Not all investment accounts are created equal, and choosing the wrong one can cost you thousands. So choose wisely, research, do the math. If I were starting over in 2026, I would focus on understanding the purpose of each account. Because investment accounts are tools, and wealthy people understand tools better than average people. 401k. If my employer offered a 401k match, I would take full advantage of it. Why? Because that's free money. And ignoring free money is financially irrational, especially when so many people say, I can't afford to invest. Meanwhile, they're rejecting employer matches. That's like refusing part of your paycheck. Or Roth IRA. Then I'd strongly consider a Roth IRA. Why? Because qualified withdrawals can be tax-free later, and younger investors especially have something powerful: time. Compounding plus time is absurdly powerful. Most people underestimate what consistency over decades can become. They want results in months, but wealth is usually built in years. And the scary part? The earlier you start, the easier it becomes. Delay costs money, massive money, because you royally miss out on a lot of compound interest. Individual brokerage account, then comes the individual brokerage account. This gives flexibility. No retirement age restrictions like retirement accounts. Useful for long-term wealth building outside retirement-specific goals. But this is where people become dangerous to themselves. Because freedom without discipline becomes chaos. People start overtrading, panic selling, chasing trends, buying hype. And emotional investing is one of the fastest ways to destroy money. 529. Account. If I had kids, I'd look into a 529 account for education savings. Because planning ahead reduces future financial pressure. And pressure causes desperate decisions. Does this surprise you? But here's where everything changes. The next step is what actually determines whether someone builds wealth or just talks about building wealth. So let's not wait any longer. Here's step 4. Start small but stay consistent, very important. The amount matters less than the habit. I repeat, the amount matters less than the habit. One of the biggest lies people believe is, I need a lot of money to start investing. No, you don't. You need consistency. That's it. Most people delay investing because they think small amounts don't matter. But consistency rewires identity. And identity drives behavior. A person investing $50 consistently is building a system. A person waiting for more money someday is building excuses. And here's the truth nobody likes hearing. Most people don't become wealthy because they stop too early. Not because investing failed, because they failed consistency. They didn't have a set schedule that never changed. Imagine two people. One invests $200 every month for decades. The other waits for the perfect time. Guess who wins? The consistent person, almost every time, because momentum matters. And every year you delay, compound growth has less time to work. Time is the most valuable investing asset on earth. Not intelligence, not luck, not perfect timing, time. So here's step 5, diversification. Very important, your future relies on this. One bad investment should never destroy your entire future. And that's what can happen if you don't spread your investments out over the playing field. If I were starting over, I would diversify immediately, because concentration creates vulnerability. And beginners often make emotionally dangerous bets. They go all in on one stock, one trend, one industry, one prediction. That's not investing. That's gambling disguised as confidence. Diversification spreads risk. It protects you from catastrophic mistakes. And here's something powerful. You do not need to predict the next millionaire stock to build wealth. You need consistency and broad exposure. That's it. Because time is key. Most people secretly want investing to feel exciting. But boring investing often wins. Why? Because boring systems are easier to stick with emotionally. And emotionally sustainable investing beats emotionally exhausting investing. Every time. Now let's talk about step 6, automate and simplify. The easier your system is, the more likely you are to stay consistent. But if I were rebuilding from zero, I would automate almost everything. Automatic contributions, automatic investing, automatic transfers. Because humans are inconsistent, systems are not. And wealthy people understand something important. You do not rise to goals, you fall to systems. So remove emotion. Remove decision fatigue. Remove temptation. Make investing automatic. Because when investing depends entirely on motivation, you eventually stop. And most financial failure is simply inconsistency repeated over years. You would have never guessed that right, but none of this matters if you fail the final step. Because this is the step that destroys beginners emotionally. And it will happen eventually. So listen closely to step 7. Stay calm when the market drops. Don't let the news stations get in your head. The market dropping is not the real danger. Panic is. If not careful, you'll become your biggest enemy at some point. The market will crash again. And when it happens, headlines will scream fear, people will panic, sell everything, claim investing is dead again. And beginners will feel sick watching their accounts drop. This is where wealth transfers happen psychologically. Because emotional investors panic. Disciplined investors stay consistent. The market rewards patience brutally and punishes emotion brutally. What's this mean? Change nothing, continue investing as normal. If I were starting over in 2026, I would stop searching for shortcuts. I would stop chasing hype. I would stop trying to look rich and focus on becoming financially free. Because real wealth is not flashy. Real wealth is control. Control of your time. Control of your stress. Control of your future. And the crazy part? Most people are closer than they think, but they sabotage themselves emotionally before consistency has time to work. So look, I dare you. So here's my challenge to you. Start, even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if you're scared. Because 1 year from now, you'll either wish you started today or wish you stopped making excuses. And if this video changed how you think about money, subscribe right now, because the next video is going to expose the exact financial habits keeping millions trapped in the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle without even realizing it. And trust me, once you see it, you'll never look at money the same way again.